Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me for this really fascinating session. What we're looking at today is mindset and value and how to value ourselves as practitioners. And the reason that we're doing this today is because I'm sure you realize that on the 27th of March, we held our first resilience and positive psychology training. The strapline to that is creating health through happiness. Obviously, many of you on this call today are, we're actually on that training. And I know also that many of you actually will be joining me tomorrow, which is very, very exciting. So, because we've got the next iteration of the course tomorrow. So it's really, really exciting. And again, it completely sold out. It's obviously a very, very, very important topic. I think actually because of what we're all going through with lockdown, and as we all know, there's this massive fallout, isn't there, with mental health issues and all of that sort of thing. So obviously, it is a very, very tricky time for so many people. So the idea of the course is that we're giving you tremendous skill sets that you can actually use to work with your clients, or even take that course and actually deliver it as a course, a fully fledged, fully rounded, fully grown course. And actually, if you haven't been teaching so far, you've now got a course you can teach, or if you have been teaching, it's another course that you can promote. Anyway, so be that as it may, what's actually happened is that with the reason I'm telling you about that is because with the course, with the Resilience and Positive Psychology course, what's actually happened is that we have two tracks. As I say, one is the certificate course, which is where people do the course for their own interest and how they can use these amazing, proven techniques with their clients. But the other side of the course is the licentiate level. And that involves me doing one-to-ones, a mentoring session and an assessment session with the licentiate level attendees. And that's not as scary as it sounds, because I know many of you, I can see many of you have already done this with me. You've been through this process so far. And I think you'll agree that it wasn't actually as bad as you might have thought it was, and maybe even found it helpful. Let me know in the chat box, because it'll encourage the others if they were wavering, thinking, oh, I don't know if I want to be doing one-to-ones in that way. But I thought it was rather lovely. But there's interesting because, and the reason I'm doing this topic now is because one of the, if you like, the common denominators I found with most, not all, but most of the people I spoke to, was that they're very happy to take their work and this work out into the world. And of course, obviously, their existing disciplines and their existing courses. But one of the questions I was asked by nearly everybody was, how do I price this course? How do I price this if I'm delivering it as a discipline? If I'm going to add resilience or loving kindness or mindfulness-based stress reduction and so on to my therapeutic portfolio, to my therapeutic toolkit. How do I price it? And so we started talking about pricing, and pricing is about value. And if you value yourself, then you don't really have issues with pricing, because you really, really understand the value of the transformation that you provide to your clients, or in fact your students. So, okay, so be that as it may, because I've been so busy, obviously doing everything this end that I was telling you about earlier before we started the recording going, which you'll obviously understand. I just wanted to say I've made notes, but I'm not going to do a fully fledged PowerPoint, because I think sometimes it's nice to vary things. And, sometimes it's nice to have a PowerPoint if I've got charts and graphs and things like that to show you. But if I haven't, and I think if I just can talk to you today about mindset and value and so on and so forth, I think actually it's more helpful for us to have, if you like, a face-to-face discussion. So this lecture itself is really all about understanding your worth and realizing that your product or service, however you want to conceptualize what you do, is separate from you and has a specific value, but, and here's the thing, it's probably greater than you might actually think. Once you understand the value of the solution that you provide, market forces and how to charge and so on, you'll have a viable and realistic blueprint for creating a, if you like, a rational pricing structure that will sustain your dream business. Ultimately, doing what we all want to do is doing this work that we love with the people that we really, really want to serve. Okay, so what I want you to do at the moment is to just stop trying to think about, I want to charge what I'm worth. It's actually, it's more subtle than that. Okay, so obviously those of you who've looked at things like the avatar video on the Complementary Medical Association YouTube channel, or if you've looked at the niche version or video, if you've looked at things like, I have another video on fees and how to set your fees and how to actually reverse engineer your fee structure so that you know exactly what you need to be charging to cover yourself and to still make a profit. So all of that nitty gritty is actually over on the Complementary Medical Association YouTube channel. Okay, so I do strongly suggest that you go and have a look at those anyway. It's always good, even if you have done over the last year, it's always good to go and revisit it because obviously, you know, your thoughts about yourself and the thoughts about your practice or your training school, they will change, they evolve on a consistent basis. So I always encourage people to go back and do that work and to get really clear again in your own mind who you're serving, and who your ideal client actually is, and really getting into that whole kind of niche thing to really shape the direction of where you want to go with all of this stuff. Now, one of the exercises that we've been doing in the mentoring sessions, again, is reverse engineering. I like reverse engineering because you start at the end point and, of course, you work back. And when you do that as a mental exercise, what ends up happening is that you end up actually then being very, very clear on the steps that you need to take to get from A, which is where we are right now, to Z, which is where you want to go ultimately. And Z is not the end. Okay, you can then sort of obviously go, Z A, Z B, Z B, C, and so on. And the thing about practice and training people is that it's always evolving. It's very, very dynamic. I'm sure that you would agree with that. So, as I say, I'd love you to go back and do that work, which would be very good. I think it's a very, very, very good psychological and emotional exercise for us. So, those of you also who've been on my courses on practice development and so on, you know that I'm a huge proponent, huge fan of charging and earning more and actually feeling good about doing so. Now, a lot of people then literally kick back at me straight away and say, well, I can't possibly charge more. I live in the wilds of Wales. I live right down in Cornwall. I live in the back of beyond, and so on. I can't charge more because people just won't accept that in this area. So at this point, I want to tell you about Jim Fox. Jim Fox, some of you may even know Jim. He's an amazing man. He's a sound therapist, and Jim lives in the wilds of Wales. And he came on one of my live trainings. It was called Developing Your Professional Practice, and it was a live face-to-face training. And Jim looks like Gandalf, but if you can imagine, actually he's not. He's a hybrid of Father Christmas and Gandalf because he's very, very round. He's a round gentleman, and he's got this really, really, really long white wizard beard, and he's just beautiful. He's a beautiful, beautiful man, and he's just got this energy that comes off him, and he's just magical. And anyways, he's the Welsh wizard. That's what we call Jim. He's been with the CMA for many, 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 probably 20 years. I mean, if not maybe longer. And we love him to bits. And anyways, so he put his hand up. He said, I'm in the Wales, sort of, I'm in the Wells of Wales. He said, I know you lot are thinking, this is the other people on the course, I know you a lot are thinking that if you put your prices up, you're going to price yourself out of the market. He said, but I want to explain this to you. He said, my friend is an acupuncturist also living in the wilds of West Wales. And, there's just like nobody around, we're really, really secluded. But, he was busy, and he needed to put his prices up. And what happened when he put his prices up was he got busier. And I said, yes, Jim. I said, that happens. I've seen it happen. I've been running the CMA for 28 years now. I know every model of business there is in this field. And I have to say, every time I've seen somebody put their prices up, they get busier. It's really, really counterintuitive. And I said, so what's the point, Jim? You know, what are you illustrating? He said, well, the thing is, he put his prices up then again to try to discourage people because he then had a massive waiting list that he couldn't cope with. And so he put his prices up again and he got even busier. And I said, and the point is, Jim, he said, well, the thing is, he said, obviously I do something really obscure, sound healing. And he said, you know, so I thought, well, I'll take a leaf out of this chap's book. He said, and I'm aware of what you've been saying all these years, Janie, which is put your price up if you want to get busier. And he said, I thought I'd give it a go. And I'm only talking, everybody, about literally a 5 or 10% change. And please go and watch the video where I talk and actually talk you through exactly how to do this, because you can make a massive difference to your profitability levels by tweaking things just by a mere 10%. So if you were charging, let's say £50 for a session, if you increased your price to £55, which is you know, a 10% increase, but then you actually reduced your overheads by 10%, and then if you increased your number of appointments per week, just by maybe doing a little bit more marketing or a bit more word of mouth or getting some more testimonials and tweaking your website a little bit, again, you see that would actually make a huge difference. It actually increases your profitability by close to 190%. And so I've got a video over on the Complementary Medical Association YouTube channel that explains exactly how to do that. But that's very practical, and today we're talking more about mindset. So what happened with Jim was that he, by way of experiment, was that he put his prices up. And lo and behold, what happened to Jim, although he's in the wilds of West Wales, he got busier. And he said, crikey, he said, it actually works, doesn't it? I said, yeah, it does. He said, why does it work? He said, I think I know. He said, but you tell me why does this work, Jamie? I said, well, because the problem with us humans is that we equate value, price, with quality. It's a horrible thing, and honestly, it bugs me. It really, really bugs me that we human animals are such, you know, we fall for these psychological tricks. You know, it's ridiculous. You know, as I was saying when I was doing my mentor sessions with a few people, you know, you've got a bottle of Charlie perfume and you've got a bottle of Chanel No. 5. Okay, and you know, actually, Charlie sells for £7 or thereabouts, whatever it was. It was always about £5 or whatever when I was a teenager. It's what we all wore at school, you know, when we weren't supposed to. And you know, you could buy it in the local chemist. It was really dead cheap, but we felt very sophisticated because it was American. It was Charlie, ooh. And then you know, obviously you've then got a bottle of Chanel No. 5, which retails, a small bottle eau de parfum retails at £85 or thereabouts. But the thing is, what's in those two bottles is virtually identical under a microscope. You've got water, you've got alcohol, you've got essential oils, you've got some chemicals. End of. So why is it that they can only charge £7, or they choose to charge £7 for Charlie, and they choose to charge £85 for Chanel No. 5? And then the next question is, which of those two brands is more valuable and actually makes more money? Well, you obviously realise it's Chanel No. 5. Charlie is a massive brand, and the conglomerate that owns Charlie is a huge, huge conglomerate. But the more valuable conglomerate is Chanel. And the truth of the matter is that people, if they see that something is presented well, and we're going to come on to that a little bit later in this lecture, but if something's presented well and it's priced with a high price, then people think that it's better. And this is what happened to Jim, and that's what happened to his acupuncture guy. Well, acupuncture guy ended up managing his practice by taking somebody else on to, you know, kind of wind down the waiting list. And Jim got busier. He got to the point where he was manageably busy, and he then started doing training, which is great. You know, it gets to the point where, honestly, if you find that you are spending a lot of time exchanging your time for money face-to-face, one-on-one, there comes a time when you can't become more profitable. That it's a very much a rate-limiting step. just by simply exchanging your time for money and seeing people face to face. And that might be just what you want to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you've got to run your business in the way that speaks to your soul and the way that actually makes you happy, because that's what life is all about. Ultimately, at the end of the day, is happiness. We know that happier people live longer and healthier lives. Optimistic people live longer, happier lives. People that have a purpose to their life live longer and happier lives. As you know, we cover all that on the Resilience and Positive Psychology training course. And obviously we present, the actual scientific evidence for all of that. It's not just me making this up, it actually is true. And anyway, it's so having watched all of these models of business over the years, this is absolutely something I promise you happens. And I see this, I see it constantly, as I say, in not just other practices. I've seen it in my own practice where I walk my talk, and I've done this and I've thought, okay, fine. I'm telling all these people to put their prices up. I'm going to put my prices up. And, yes, it does work. People do equate price with value. So what are we going to do about that? I have to say, my position is not inspired by avarice or greed or any other money-grabbing impetus. On the contrary, you know me by now, I really believe that what we do in complementary medicine has huge value. What we're doing as practitioners and trainers is that we're making a huge difference to society as a whole. Obviously, look at the way that the UK government, across the 4 governments of the UK, but the overriding, gov.uk, actually identified CMA members as being suitable to return to work. You did not have to do lockdown with your practice because we got you back to work, and we negotiated with the government and we said, look, this is who we are. This is who our members are. These are the best of the best. These are the creme de la creme. And these are the people who will take the burden off the NHS. And they looked at what we do. They looked at you guys, our members, and they said, okay, these are real professionals. These are people that really, really know what they're doing. And we said, well, yeah, obviously, yes, we don't just give out memberships. We make our members jump through hoops. We make sure our members are extraordinarily highly qualified, and so they took that on board, and that's why they allowed you guys to go back to work. So they recognized, and I believe very strongly, that we practitioners change lives. We change lives for the better. And when this happens, as you know, it creates that incredible ripple effect. So when one person feels better, and actually, of course, is better, the benefits from a healing transformation, it actually flows out to their loved ones. Other people see them getting better. Other people sense the change in their energetic patterns, and they realize that something profound has happened for that person. I'm just going to let somebody into the room. There we go. So that ripple effect transforms on to not just that person, of course, but to their loved ones, and then on to their friends and their family, and then, of course, out into the world, into the larger environment. And this is the value of what you do. I believe that we practitioners are capable of creating massive, measurable, positive change, and that it is our responsibility, underlined 3 times, to get out there and to run successful, thriving, profitable practices. So ultimately that everybody benefits, that you are running a profitable practice. What do I mean by profit? Let's just drill down on that word for a second. Profit is not money that is just, you bring money in and then you pay yourself and so on. That's not profit. Profit is what's left over after you've paid yourself. If you have admin support after you've paid them, after you've paid all of your expenses, your business expenses and so on, your equipment, your tools, your consumables, all of that stuff. Profit is what's left over at that point. Now, all of the business gurus say that to run a profitable business, you need at least 10% profit. And if you've got 10% profit, that's money that you can actually reinvest into your organization, your business, whatever it is, your practice, what have you. and it will help you to grow the practice, or you may decide to take the profit out and use it for something rather lovely. So that's profit. I would love to see you earning more profit than that. And as I said to you earlier, please go and check that video where we actually look at exactly how to engineer your prices so that you can put your price up by 10%, put your number of sessions up by 10% and how to do that, and then reduce your costs by 10% and how to do that. And it massively increases your profit levels. So honestly, please go and do the maths. It's very easy. I've got complete systems for you. I don't ever leave you floating, as you know. So there we go. So I'm just looking at my notes. And when I was writing my notes for this session today and yesterday, a couple of days ago, I am always struck by Marianne Williamson's quote. You know, it's beautiful, truthful words, really. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine. So this is interesting, this statement, because another thing that's come up in my interviews with people, my mentoring sessions, is that a lot of people say, well, you know, who am I to be charging? Who am I to be charging that? You know, cool, dear. Or my family says, who are you to be charging that much money? The person, or you look at, you know, who else is around. You go, oh, God, crikey, the reflexologist down the road, she only charges £20 a session. You know, I've got to. That means I've got to charge £20 a session. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You've got to learn to value yourself. You've got to learn to value the transformation that you provide. So how do we learn to value the transformation we provide? Excuse me, I'm going to have a quick sip of my tea. As you can imagine, I've been speaking all day and getting things sorted out for the reasons I was saying before we started recording the video. Okay, as I say, over the years, since founding the CMA 28 years ago, I have mentored literally tens of thousands of practitioners. I even wrote my dissertation for my master's on my MSc on the scientific research study I did on what makes practitioners successful. And why is it only a handful of practitioners who really thrive personally and professionally in business, whereas the majority of practitioners really struggle? You all are streets ahead because you are engaging in these sessions. You are streets ahead because you are engaging in things like the Resilience and Positive Psychology course, because, as you know, it gives you yet another string to your bow, as we said earlier. So, you know, I've no worries about you, but I would love to see you all being more profitable and really valuing, really drilling down to the value that you actually provide. So a lot of people think that they need to charge what they're worth or competitive price, same as Mary Smith down the road who charges 20 quid for her reflexology sessions. Okay, and you know, the whole point is that no, it's not what you or that actual treatment are worth. If you say I'm going to charge what I'm worth, there are two serious problems with that statement. One is that you are absolutely priceless. You are priceless. Your work is priceable, and we can figure that out. And that's just maths. That's just a simple exercise. And as I say, on that other video, I have that exercise for you. What you are worth, though, is not even remotely quantifiable, because you, as I say, are absolutely priceless. Your precious life cannot be measured in terms of price. You and your complete and utter uniqueness are beyond price and beyond compare. Please take that in. Really just mull over that for a moment, because we need big mindset shifts. You are priceless. Your life experience is priceless. We can't quantify that. It's interesting because I was doing a talk, a practice development talk for Target Publishing. They do the IHCAN conferences, and we had 700 people on the webinar. And it was interesting because I was talking in terms of really understanding that you can be the go-to expert in your field. And I was explaining about that because so many practitioners will then kick back and say, "Oh no, I'm not an expert. I'm a homeopath, and there are brilliant homeopaths out there. I'm not an expert, by any stretch of the imagination. It's really arrogant to say that. Who am I to say I'm an expert?" But you see, those people weren't listening because I went on to explain again and again. You have to explain this several times because people don't get it initially. But the thing is that, yes, we can all practice the same discipline, but where your expertise comes in and where you become the go-to expert is where you bring your unique life experience into your practice or into your training. So, you've been through stuff, you're alive. We've all been through stuff. We all have a fantastically unique perspective on practice. And if we drill down to that and our life experiences, very often the people that we tend to attract are people who have very, very similar life stories to us. So when you're starting to think about the value of the transformation you provide, you can actually think about, well, I had these experiences. 9 times out of 10, I have found in my work with practitioners over the many, many years, is that we tend to get into practice because we've experienced stuff in our lives, difficult stuff. And so we've then had treatment, really successful treatment, usually through complementary medicine, that has actually got us healthier and to where we need to be. It's rare that somebody gets into a profession if they haven't had tough experiences that they've been through, or if they've maybe a family member, maybe they've watched a family member being supported and treated and getting well through complementary medicine. So I would wager, and I'm not a betting woman, but I would wager that pretty much everybody, all 40 of us in this room, have probably had an experience in life that has led them to becoming a practitioner. And it's very interesting. Do you find that you tend to attract people who've gone through the same sort of scenarios? I know then, of course, because complementary medicine is completely holistic, that, of course, we can all treat lots and lots of different people. But there's always kind of a core group of people that we tend to generally attract to us. There'll always be outliers who don't find that, and that's absolutely fine, so fair enough. But this is what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about becoming the go-to expert in your field, and not commoditizing what you do. I'm not talking about you are the reflexology expert, or you are the homeopathy expert, or you are the mind-body medicine expert. It's difficult to claim that because there are so many practitioners out there doing the same discipline. But if you say, I am, let's say you work with I don't know, let's say you work with people like with autoimmune illness, taking myself as an example. So I would say I wouldn't say I'm the go-to expert in rheumatoid arthritis, but I would say something like, I help women who are struggling with burnout, exhaustion, and it's taken them to a place where they have developed autoimmune issues. And using lifestyle medicine approaches, we actually can turn all of that around so that they then become healthier, happier, and back to where they felt many, many years ago. So that's the sort of example of the kind of thing I might say. And my target lady, the lady that I want to work with, who I will go to the ends of the earth to help, will see that messaging and she'll go, okay, that person, they're speaking my same language. That person clearly knows what I'm going through. She's obviously an expert in this field. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to go away, do that work, really drill down using my videos, because, don't forget, everything that we've got on the Complementary Medical Association YouTube channel is essentially a course in how to grow your practice and how to really get your practice being super, super successful. So the reason that we put it all up there and we haven't put it out as a course is because back in March 2020, when obviously we know what happened, lockdown hit, we were going to launch a practice development training, A to Z blueprint on how to grow your practice. But we looked at the situation and we very, very quickly realized that if we didn't do the humane thing, the honorable thing, which was basically create all of these videos as a course and put them out week by week, to support you guys so that you would stay in business, not just stay in business, you could pivot, you could thrive, you would stay afloat. We knew we had to do that to support you. As a result, the CMA has, and not intentional at all, but the CMA has grown by 96% since March 2020, which is just extraordinary. But it's because people realised that we are fighting the government. They realised we were holding their place and that we were doing all these wonderful things for them to keep them going and to support them and being real people on the end of the phone. And so that's, so that's why we believe in you. That's why we do this work. We believe in you. We know that you transform lives and that you genuinely are the expert, the go-to expert in your particular niche. So as I say, all of those videos are out there. So please go and look at them. Please do yourself a favor to do that. So again, talking about pricing, again, coming right back to that, your skills, products and services, however, are quantifiable. There is obviously a going rate. It's very difficult if you are charging, if your neighbour down the road is charging £20 for a session and your other neighbour is charging £20 for a session and so on. It's kind of the going rate, but I'm saying to you, don't actually have to stick to that. Whatever it is that you need to charge, you need to charge. And the way that you charge a decent rate that is going to enable you to grow a profitable practice is by changing your mindset. If you start to really drill down to the transformation that you provide, you will then find that you can set a fee that reflects the value of what you do. So we're not talking about pricing a reflexology session or whatever it is that you do. We're actually talking about pricing a transformation. So, and don't forget, prices can go up and down. And one of the things I always believe in doing is I believe in setting a higher price for my services. And then what it means is that if somebody who is in genuine need comes along, and there are a lot of game players out there, as you know, who, pull the poverty card. Oh, I can't afford your fees. Oh, I'm on furlough, and then they're driving off in a state-of-the-art Range Rover. Yeah, okay, that's a tricky situation. You've got to make a judgment call on that. But I have seen over my years in practice and talking to practitioners, I've seen, game playing does actually happen. But, if you had somebody in genuine need, a homeless person, if you had somebody who's being diagnosed with a very, very serious illness, then you've got room in your practice to be able to give your services pro bono if you're sure that this is somebody that would actually value those services. You can't just foist your work on somebody. You've got to make sure that, do they genuinely want your help? And if they really genuinely can't afford your help, then yes, you've got maneuverability, because it does mean that you can actually do that very, very good work. Or you could go and volunteer, for example. As we know, the value of volunteering is extraordinary for our immune systems and our overall health and well-being. And that's what the research says. But if you build in profitability and you're charging a professional rate for whatever it is that you do, you've then got wiggle room to be able to help others less fortunate. So again, that's another reason I want you to try to build in this buffer. And if you think also, another mindset thing that I want you to delve into right now is think about other services. Think about, what does a dentist charge? And yes, they've put their prices up massively because of PPE, and so should you. What does a dentist charge for their services? And what does a dentist actually do? Well, a dentist does fillings, crowns, takes teeth out, and so on, but they're not actually doing anything that is making a difference to a person's health in the long-term perspective. They're not addressing chronic disease as we are in complementary medicine. Think about what we do. If somebody has an acute and they unfortunately break their leg, they're not going to come to us as a first port of call. But what they're going to do is they're going to go to A&E, and then when they know that the bone has been set and that we've got X-ray evidence of the bone being set, They may well come to a homeopath for symphytum to get the bone to knit faster, or they may possibly go to an acupuncturist again because they know there are certain acupuncture points that can get bones to knit faster and so on. So there's a place for in the world for both approaches. So yeah, this is the thing. So think about, what does a dentist charge? What does a hairdresser charge? Well, they charge even more now, don't they? Because, COVID, because PPE, etc. And you're just going to somebody to get your hair cut. You're not making a difference to your health and well-being. Honestly, think about these services that are out there, and then think about what you do, the work you do. That if nothing, that you take away nothing else from today, just think about that and think about, my goodness. The other way to ascertain the value of the transformation you provide is to get testimonials. Now, if you can get testimonials from your patients, your clients, such that it demonstrates how you have helped them, that is absolutely solid gold. And please, please put those as high up the page as you possibly can on your website. Again, with the mentoring sessions I've been doing over the last couple of weeks, what's actually happened is that we've looked at the mentees' websites, and it's very interesting because a lot of the time they'll have a great big logo up the top, which means nothing. In the olden days, if you remember, when we were allowed to be commuters and things like that, do you remember you'd come out of work, if you ever worked in the city, for example, and there would be the man selling the Evening Standard, and all of the newspapers would be piled up one on top of the other, folded. And there's a saying in advertising, above the fold. What that means is that because the newspaper designers, the typesetters and the people who actually decided, the editor who decided what the lead story was that would sell the most newspapers, they would have to put the most important story, the most important information above the fold. So if you imagine a piece of paper folded in half, and then you sort of look at it and you go, right, okay, so there's the fold. This is where the most important information goes, because that's where your person first lands on your website. If they're looking at you on a computer, and again, even more important, if they're looking at your website on a phone or an iPad or something. Excuse me, I've got hiccups now, on an iPad or something like that. And so you've got to get the most important piece of information above the fold, so that it's literally smacking them in the face. So they're under absolutely no illusion as to how what you do is going to help them. In fact, to clarify that further, they don't even need to know what it is that you do. They don't care if you're a homeopath. They don't care if you're a reflexologist. They don't care if you're an aromatherapist or a nutritionist or a psychotherapist or whatever. All they care about is, are you the person who's going to be able to sort out their problem? So what we've been doing in the group, in the mentoring sessions, is I've been working with people to understand what it is that they do, what is the transformation they provide, by looking at some of their testimonials. And then we've worked out what needs to go above the fold, what is the messaging. And it's not just on your website, it's also in any other marketing material that you're putting out. This is the stuff you've got to get onto your social media. You've got to keep pushing this message, because ultimately the question that the person is asking when they alight upon you amongst all the other people out there is this the person that's going to help me? What's in it for me? If I engage with this person, if I make an appointment with this person, what's in it for me? That's all they care about. They don't care about what it is that you actually do. And I know that's actually really annoying to know, because, we've all spent a gazillion years getting our qualifications, and money and time and expense and heartache and blood, sweat and tears. I know all of us have. So the point being that, it doesn't really matter what we actually do, how we get to the end point, which is helping the person. So the point you've got to get across above the line, so the thing that literally, as I say, smacks them in the face so that they know exactly how you're going to help them, is what is the transformation you provide. So again, there's a structure to this information. The structure is, you would say hi, and you speak to them very personally. Speak to the person. Don't say, I provide reflexology treatments to people, and I'm based in Hertfordshire. That means nothing. So if somebody's got an issue, let's say we call it pain, if somebody's in pain, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever it is, but let's say pain for shorthand, okay? If somebody's in pain, if somebody's suffering, if somebody has dis-ease, they don't care that you do, whatever it is you do in Hertfordshire. It doesn't matter. And also, you're depersonalizing by using words like the body. I work with, I work with I work with the feet. I work with the body. I do body work. No, it's hi. I'm Mary. I support people, or I work with people, or I treat people who are suffering with whatever it is, again, doing your niche work so you know exactly what it is that you're targeting, the languaging you're using, so that you can come back to your original life, so that your energy levels are better, so that you get better sleep, so that you feel happier, healthier, and whole, so that whatever it is, you're all different. So I'm just kind of giving silly examples, but you've got to get your name up front so that you become a person in their own mind. You're a person who works with people just like them and provides solutions, whatever the solution is that you provide, so that they da 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 da. I hope that makes sense. If it's not making sense, leave me a message in the chat, because I'm going to come back to the chat box in a sec. Okay, we haven't got much more of this training session left, but I do see questions coming up, so I'm going to answer the questions. I hope that makes sense to you. Now, the next thing is, do you need a logo up the top there? No, you don't. It's valuable real estate. This is where we've got to get your messaging across, okay? So you've got to get that there. If you've got a great big logo up top, for goodness sake, please shrink it down. And you can put your logo, the conventional websites, for example, is that if you put your logo up there right at the top, people know that that's a thing that they can click on to come back to the homepage if they want to do so. Make navigation around your site super, super simple. Then the next thing you've got to get on your site above the fold is a slider with your testimonials. Now, we've got the most amazing chap who's a CMA member. I say we're not affiliated with Mark in any way. He is a CMA member. He's a practitioner. He speaks the same language as we do. He doesn't speak geek speak. He just tells it like it is. And because he's a practitioner, he understands all this stuff. He understands what needs to go where. He understands what you're doing, and the fact that you have to get across the idea of the solution and the transformation you provide to people. Okay. Mark's details are, in fact, actually, do you know what? I'm going to, bear with me a sec. I'm going to pop his details in there. His website, and I put it in the various groups. It's Indigo Insight. I believe it's .me, and I will double check that. I think that's what it is. Okay, so it's either .com or .me, but I have a funny feeling I think it's .me. Mark is not affiliated to us. We don't get a commission if we refer you to him, but the reason we refer you to him is because Mark is incredible. He's very, very generous, and he can put a website up for between £150 to £300. So if you haven't got a website yet, or if your website is not performing, or if, wow, I've seen Sam saying, wow, I know. You'll have been quoted ridiculous, silly money to get a site up, but Mark can put a fully functional site up for just that small amount, because he's working on templates and things like that, which is how everybody else does it. Honestly, it's not blooming rocket science. I can, because I've done it so many times, I can whack a website up in half an hour. If you say, I'm not going to offer myself to do this, because obviously, far too busy. But, honestly, I swear to you, if you sent me your photos and your copy, and we'd agreed that your copy was all correct and hunky-dory and all the rest of it, I could literally whack your website up in half an hour. Honestly, it is not rocket science. So, Mark will be working on templates, but you don't have to have the same color as everybody else. You agree the colors, you agree the branding, you agree all of that. Yeah, Carol says I paid 500. Exactly. So check Mark out, because he's a lovely, lovely man We absolutely adore him. And actually, in the CMA shop, we had all the t-shirts and the the lovely sweatshirts and all the gear that we've got with all the lovely CMA logo on it. And then Mark just simply sent us a logo that he'd made into black and white. He said, "Do you want this to go on your stuff in your shop?" We looked at it, we thought, blimey, that's smart, isn't it? Yeah, thank you, Mark. He just did it. He's that kind of a guy. And then the other thing about Mark is that if you need revisions or if you need tech support along the way, if something happens to the website, whatever, you just get your phone out and you, "Hey, Mark, can you just sort that out?" And he says, "Yeah, okay, sure," and does it. And you have to pay a hosting fee, which you would have to with any website provider. So yeah, that's a given. But he doesn't charge hardly anything for that either. So that's, if you take nothing else away from today, there you go. That's a helpful piece of information. So back to, and I will come on to the questions in a sec because I don't want to keep you too long today. I've got to get ready for the course tomorrow. In fact, there is still room on the course, by the way. We're very, very close to being sold out because of the licentiate ones, session, the licentiate level where I have to do the one-to-ones. So that's actually very close to being sold out. The certificate, which is where you get the information and you can then use all of the training materials and the handouts and the books and the ebooks and everything that we give you on the course and the presentations, you can actually use that directly with your clients. We've got more room for that, and then if you want to upgrade at a later date, you can do. But I'll put the link in for that in a moment if anybody does want to sign up for it. Right, okay, so let's have a little. I'm just looking at my notes now to see if there's anything else that I've left off. Right, okay, yeah. The other thing I just wanted to say in closing is that David Ogilvy, the father of advertising, if you like, the granddaddy of advertising, and he kind of is, but there are other people that we could throw into the frame there, but he is the best known. David Ogilvy said, "The medium is the message." Now, what does he mean by that? If you send out, let's say, you are putting out into the world something that looks scruffy, amateurish, not particularly well thought through, your messaging is off, it's just not appealing, you're doing something bizarre like having a purple background with green writing on it, very illegible on a screen. If you're doing that, then that's your medium. That's the medium. That's the for example, Ogilvy would have been putting out direct mail packs, which would go out to people in the post. And he was very, very careful about selecting the kind of paper that was being used, the weight of paper, the feel of the paper. Was it silk? Was it gloss? Was it rag? Whatever it was. Every single detail, the envelope, the printing quality, every single detail was considered very carefully. The font, the color of ink, the very precise color of ink, and so on. It's all the message. If somebody gets something from you, or if they perceive something from you, or if they see in your marketing materials, it's just not kind of congruent with them as individuals, then they will disregard your message, because the medium is the message. So this is another reason I'm suggesting to you to go back and look very, very carefully at your website and get your message about the transformation you provide front and center. If you can do that, and also if you can please do this real drill down work to really understand what sets you apart as a practitioner, what exactly who you want to serve, who your avatar is, who your niche, what the niche is that you want to work in. If you can do that, you then become the expert in that particular very, very targeted area. Don't make the mistake of trying to be all things to all people. If you work in a very, very, very targeted area, you'll start to attract the people that really make your heart sing, the people that you really want to look after. And yes, of course, they will then tell their friends who don't necessarily happen to be in your niche. And that's fine, because if you've got the time, you can then see those people, or you can see their kids or whatever. Yes, your practice will spill over, or your teaching will spill over. But I promise you, and the research supports this, if you can be super, super, super targeted, you'll become that expert, and then you will be able to set your fees because you're confident in what you're doing. You know how you help people. You've asked people. You've looked at the kind of language that's being used in the testimonials about the work that you do. you will be able to confidently put your fees up. You will be able to confidently say, yes, this is what I charge. And you will feel good about it because you know that it's not, you're not pulling the wool over anybody's eyes. You're not ripping anybody off. You know that if you've got the solutions, you know that you work well with people, and you have absolute confidence in really being the person that can actually make a huge difference in this person's life. I truly hope that this is coming home for you. I'm going to, here endeth the sermon. I'm very passionate about this, as you can tell. I hope that this has been helpful for you. Let me know in the comments, and I'm going to now directly go to all of the questions, and I see there are quite a lot here. Okay, so, right, I'm just going to, so many lovely letters about messages for my lovely colleague. Right, okay, now what I'm going to do is, let's have a little look at the... Oh gosh, so many lovely, wonderful messages. Right, okay. Right, so Carol's talking about the course. She said, yes, brilliant, you will love it. Thanks, Carol. Okay, Jill says, Janie, everyone. The course on the 27th was brilliant. Thank you very, very much. We got such lovely testimonials. Wendy's with me tomorrow. Can't wait to be with you. And Rachel says, 100% helpful to be guided by Janie. Oh, that you're talking about the mentoring sessions. Great. Okay, thank you. That's really nice, Rachel. Great comment. Thank you. Victoria said, very helpful. Looking forward to the assessment now. Yes, Vic, you were great. I mean, honestly, you're going great guns. And it's nice with the course because I get to work with people one-on-one, and I get to, look at their websites, and I get to look at their marketing stuff and so on. And it actually is really, really good, really fantastic. Yeah, it's funny. Rachel was saying, yep, that was me. My pricings are out of fresh air. Yeah, honestly, I see so many practitioners do this, because we lack confidence and because we haven't actually sat down and really worked out the value of what we provide. And really acknowledging that we are priceless because of our life experiences, and what we're bringing to the party is, God, it's beyond price. It's beyond compare. That's what we've got to do. So, we do pick pricing, going, oh, well, her down the road or him down the road is, charging X, Y, Z. Honestly, don't do that. Don't do that. Look at the transformation you provide and then work out what this is really, really worth to you. Seema says the course is definitely worth doing. Thank you, Seema. Lovely. Anne says she's found this session, I think, really helpful. Made me rethink my marketing strategy. Excellent. I hope that's been the same for all of you. Of course, you may be in the group and thinking, actually, I'm right on message. I'm totally on cue, and I'm doing it. I'm just doing great. And there will be many of you for whom that is true. But don't forget, especially with PPE and all the things that we've got to have in place at the moment, it's perfectly legitimate to put your price up to include PPE. Everybody else is doing it. Hairdressers, beauticians, as soon as they're allowed to reopen and so on, they're putting their prices up to pay for the PPE and the donning and doffing and all the rest of it. Remember, on the CMA website, top center box, we've got all of your risk assessment forms there if you want them, if you need to refresh your mind about those, walkthroughs, sanitation, PPE donning and doffing, all of that information is there for you. So if you need to refresh your memory about any of that, it's there. Carol says, yes, I took away so much valuable information, tips, brilliant advice, such an amazing lady. Thank you. Jenny really builds your confidence. I'd go for it. This is all new to me and I'm loving the journey. Absolutely, Carol. We've had quite a few chats because this is the thing, everybody. Please remember that we are the CMA and we are here to help you. That's what we pride ourselves on. Obviously, we're a little bit slow responding at the moment whilst we get all of our ducks in a row, which I was explaining to you before we started the video. But, just be patient because we will sort everything out. And St. Vinda says, I'd much prefer to buy Chanel No. 5. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You're buying into the dream. It's a luxury item. You buy, I deserve this. Yes. Carol says, do I advertise on my webpage and other social media the name? That's a question. Resilience and positive psychology, or is it creating health through happiness? Well, that's a question about the course. So I will answer it briefly, but please, this session is not about the course. So I don't want to go in and take people's time up with that sort of thing. But, you would obviously advertise it as resilience and positive psychology. dash creating health through happiness, because it kind of does what it says on the tin that way. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Wendy says, I've found when I have done some pro bono work, that client has returned at a later stage as a paying client and had really appreciated being supported when things were not so good financially. She also referred me to so many people. Exactly. But you cannot do all pro bono, because you won't have a practice, and if you don't have a successful practice, if you're not building in profit, then you won't be able to keep a roof over your head, and you won't be able to be in practice for very long. This is why I'm really keen on not underpricing yourself. Also, here's the other thing: as a senior practitioner, okay, what you've got to understand is that if you lowball your pricing, you are not allowing space in the market for new practitioners who may not be so confident yet about their abilities to come in, because they won't be able to compete with you, and they won't be able to set their charges properly, and it makes it very, very difficult for the profession. Also, aside from looking at dentists and hairdressers and so on, look at what private doctors charge. Private doctors charge anywhere from £250 to £350 an hour. And we are making probably even more inroads to people's health and well-being than they're doing. And they freely admit that now. Any sensible doctor will tell you they don't have all the answers, and that they are referring people over to our side of things. We've got an amazing thing, really exciting thing coming up in the summer, which is where we are partnering with the British Society for Integrative Oncology to actually start to do things like integrative oncology for complementary medical practitioners and so on. And it's doctors who actually want to know what we do on our side of things. So, you know me, I've got my agenda. I've got a very, very clear agenda, which is positioning complementary medicine shoulder to shoulder with conventional medicine. They do their job brilliantly, we do our job brilliantly, and we can support each other. So that's, I make no bones about my agenda. I have an agenda, and that's what it is. That's sort of where we're coming from. And I totally agree with you, actually, Wendy, completely and utterly. Yes, if you've got space in your practice to do pro bono work, as long as you are looking after yourself and your practice and you've got profitability, that's fine, and it does work. Thank you. Seema says, should fees be adjusted according to whether a service is provided remotely or in person? Actually, no, I don't think it should. I know that previously, people used to say, well, I can do online or I can do offline. But now, if everything you're offering is online, and don't forget, online has enabled us to really cast our nets wide and actually be able to help people that we wouldn't normally have been able to help. I believe that you should have one price for everything. Obviously, it depends entirely on what the discipline is that you're doing. You can't, if you're a massage practitioner, then clearly, you can't offer a massage online. But there will be some of you who have pivoted and reshaped your offering so that you are providing your clients with other things that they can be doing for wellness, stretches, self-massage and so on, using aromatherapy oils and. So obviously that reshapes your practice so that you can actually price that accordingly. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that answer makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know. Okay, but I do believe in respecting yourself and really making sure that you are charging a professional rate. Please, please, please take this on board. You will be valued more highly. Sam says, I need help to get a website up. Absolutely. Well, please. And Carol's chatting to Mark today at 5. Excellent. I'm so pleased for you. That's lovely, Mark Spooner. Sam says, yeah, I know. Wow, absolutely. Yes. And Rach says, that's amazing. And Sam says, I've put off getting a website for years. Seema says, I wish I'd known this earlier. I paid a small fortune already. I know it's disappointing, but it happens, but now you know where to go to get your site supported. The people you're working with may be charging you a big chunk of change to support your website. It may be that Mark could take it over and actually make your support much, much, much more cost effective for you. So maybe worth having a word with him. Wendy says, Seema, I charge the same for in-person as for remote. Yeah, exactly, Wendy. We're on the same on the same hymn sheet there. My time knowledge is the same, and in some respects, remote is harder and different. Completely get it. Carol says, I paid £500 for a website. Yeah, I know. Sam says, I need a logo too. Okay, on the subject of logos, do you really need a logo? No, I don't have a logo for the Janie Goddard brand. I just have my signature. I just have my name in a really lovely font that happens to be called Santorini. You know, it's like a handwriting font. It's a really nice handwriting font. That's my logo. I don't believe that you need to spend time, heartache, and energy creating a logo because logos are a complete lecture, a complete tutorial by themselves. If I were you, I'd go online maybe and have a little look at the pros and cons of having a logo. Having a logo, it has to speak to people. It has to say something, like the Nike swoosh. Subconsciously, you look at the Nike swoosh and you see it kind of goes down, it's a tick, and it goes up. And that kind of infers that if you buy those shoes, you're going to go whoosh up in the air. And so, you know, it kind of speaks to you very, very subconsciously. There are very few people out there who can develop a logo that actually really encapsulates the brand values. I actually go and look at my tutorial on branding. Also look at the tutorial on advertising, because I talk about logos there. I would strongly argue that creating a logo is very, very time consuming because you're going to be mulling it over. Oh my God, is this really my logo? Is this what I want? You know, and it just gets, quite honestly, I think if you are the brand, which you probably are, then maybe have your name as the logo. Honestly, truly, that's all you need. This simplifies your life and it positions you as the brand because you are the person. It's not a corporate entity. It's not the Nike swoosh that's delivering the transformation you provide. You are the person who provides the transformation that you provide, which is kind of tautology, but you know, that's the way it is. But you are intrinsic to this process. So that's why I would always use your name as the business, unless of course you're running a college and you want other tutors in, and that's a different ball game. But if we're talking practice right now, please put yourself front and center of the practice. Okay, I hope that helps. Michaela says, Janie, I've just set up my website, which I worked hard for. Would you mind casting your wonderful eye? Of course, I don't mind. Absolutely. Because obviously what I said earlier, if you don't mind, I would like to do that, not this coming week, because I'm bringing somebody on board and doing various bits and pieces, and of course doing all the mentoring sessions back to back after tomorrow's teaching session, after the course session. I would be delighted to do that, not this week, but next week. Same goes for all of you. If you want to cast my eye over anything, I'm really happy to do so. Never, ever a problem. That's what we're here for. Okay, right, quickly going through. Thoroughly enjoyed the resilience course. This is from Caroline last week. Highly recommended. Thank you, my love. Geraldine says, what is the situation if I've missed day one of the course? I don't think you have missed day one. It's just a full day. So the course is tomorrow, and so yeah, you know, it's a standalone course. And if you go to the CMA website, there are 3 boxes across the top of the CMA homepage. Okay, the middle box, beg your pardon. The right-hand box says CMA course, Resilience and Positive Psychology, Creating Health Through Happiness. Click on that box. There's a link there. Click on that link. You can sign up. I have got room. I could take you tomorrow if you wanted to do it. So you haven't missed anything. It's a standalone training. And then after that, if you want to do the licentiate level, you can then sign up and you know, sign up for that particular track. And then it's all very easy. You go to, what happens is you click on the button. It takes you to our super fabulous, amazing course page. You can read everything about it and you can sign up there. Okay, really easy. Okay, Tony says, will the course be run again as I'm booked elsewhere and can't change it? Yes, it will be, Tony. We are definitely going to run the course again, but I can't say when because of onboarding new staff, and it's going to take a lot of training. I wanted to do another one towards the end of April, beginning of May, because they keep selling out really fast. I mean, clearly, you know, we know that everybody out there is massively struggling with mental health issues. And we are the people that can really support that. There's nothing being done for them, you know, realistically by the government or anything like that. You know, the suicide rate is absolutely astronomical. So, you know, honestly, we could save lives. we could save families. We can save people with this work. So please, please, please. And that's why we've totally undercharged it. There's me, actually, it's quite ironic. There's me saying, everybody put your prices up. But there's me then putting a course out there, which is completely undercharged. When you get to the course page, you'll go, huh? Is that right? Yes, it really, truly is. But it's because we're really worried about what the hell's going on out there mental health wise. And we want to skill you up so that you can go and please help those people. Please, please, please get signed up. It's just that's the way we wanted to play it. That's it. No ifs, buts, and maybes. So I hope that helps, Tony. So yes, we will do, and you will be kept informed, obviously. Sam says, go to check out the other videos. Oh, fabulous, Sam. Well done. Good. Please, everybody do that. Wendy says, excellent, very helpful. Victoria says, very helpful. It's been very helpful, definitely making me think. Seema says, thank you, Jane. It's been the most informative. Tony says, it's been excellent as always. Oh, thank you very much. That's so kind of you. So Phyllis says, many thanks. So good seeing you again today. Yes, you too, my love. Thank you very much. Anne says, really helpful. Thank you, Janie. Everybody's saying, yep, thank you. I'm just going to check down. Thank you, everybody. I love your comments. Really kind. It helps me because it helps me to know that I'm providing value to you. I never ever want to waste your time. I never ever want to give you stuff that's not useful. I want to be useful to you. That's the whole, as you know, it's the whole ethos of the CMA. We want to make sure that we're supporting you in the right way. And the only way we can know that we're doing that is by getting your feedback. So thank you. It's very, very helpful. Rachel says, I need to watch the videos. Yes, you do. Everybody does. So Kendra says, everybody will enjoy the course day. Yes, you will actually. It's absolutely lovely day. Honestly, you know, everything I do is evidence-based. So the thing is that basically, what we know from the research in the field of loving kindness, there's a ton of research in loving kindness. I mean, it sounds crazy, but there is. Everything we know from mindfulness, everything we know from research in happiness, massive research in happiness and how we can all be happier and get happier by doing basic exercises. I mean, it really is. It's extraordinary. What we know is that by reading about this stuff, by studying this stuff, it actually makes us happier. And so by the end of the day, everybody was like, woo, with their minds were completely blown, like, totally. But everybody was happier. Everybody was just like, wow, I can take this workout now. I can do this. So Pip says, many thanks, Janie. We'll get healing colleagues. Yes, thank you very, very much. Yep, that's great. Really appreciated. Geraldine, thank you, Geraldine, that's lovely. Caroline says, this is exactly the message that I've been told. So true. Thank you so much. So looking forward to the course tomorrow. Can't wait to have you on the course tomorrow. Absolutely. Sally says, love that, Jenny. Thank you. I'd love you to have a look at my website. Yes, of course. Honest feedback. Honestly, it will be honest feedback. Sometimes I do tough love, but I try to be really, really, really gentle, but firm. Otherwise, if I coddle you, you're going to go, oh, that was nice. You're not going to do anything about it. But if I'm sort of Mrs. Fair but Firm from Hastings, then you'll do something about it. Okay. Janet, lovely Janet says, I've only just joined the CMA and already finding it so helpful and will definitely watch the videos. Actually, Janet, I think I saw a message come through earlier from you on an email. As I explained earlier, we're a little delayed with current circumstances. So, thank you very much for being so patient. Very much appreciated. Lovely, Sue. Thank you very much for your beautiful message. And Michelle says, it's been very interesting. Pricing is and always has been difficult for me and everybody else, honestly. Exactly. Everybody's in the same boat, Michelle. So I'll work on myself. Yeah, I'm going to look at the other videos mentioned. Great. Okay. Lovely, Charlotte. Hello, Charlotte Nightingale. You are lovely. You're always here. Thick and thin. Everybody. It's amazing. I do appreciate you being here. Yes. Okay. That's a very, very lovely message. Thank you so much. Oh, gosh. I'm going to copy these messages and send them to Roberta, of course. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Great. Okay. So, Kitty says, how do I watch the video related to today's Zoom? Okay. What we do is we get the video, we top and tail it. So we cut out anything sort of unnecessary, anything like that. Just me going, hello, everybody, rah, rah, rah. And then what happens is so it gets edited. and then we put it up on the Complementary Medical Association YouTube channel, which is where all the other videos are as well. So you'll be able to find it there. So if there's anything that you want to re-look at and revisit, then that's fine. It's there for you. And you will get the link in the CMA newsletter, which we send out usually on Wednesdays. This week it came out yesterday on Thursday because we were delayed in getting information to you. By the way, also, we have a new phone number because obviously the calls are being ported down from Scotland now to me for the time being, and then for the new colleague. But the new phone number, if you want to jot this down for the CMA, is 0800. This is going to make you laugh because I couldn't believe I got this phone number. It's 0800 841. Not very impressive yet, is it? 0800 841 1066. Yeah, Caroline's clapping. Yeah, you can imagine me going, ooh. So there you go. Yeah, actually, yeah, Mrs. Hastings has got 1066. So there we go. Okay, my loves. Right, okay. Fiona says, just watch the tendency to buy into the poverty consciousness in your profession. Oh, yes, Fiona. Fiona's one of our CMA fellows. And yes, you're absolutely right. We do have poverty consciousness in this profession. Absolutely. Andrew says, good session. This is great. Nick says, oh, love this, Jenny. Thanks so much. Great. I'm just going to check through quickly because I don't want to hold you guys up all day. And I've got to nip to the shops because anybody who's on the course with me tomorrow, or if you're signing up for the course tomorrow, what you've got to know is there won't be time to nip to the shops to go and get food. Okay, there are plenty of comfort breaks. I'm very compassionate about this course, obviously, because that's on message with the course. But please nip to the shops. Make sure you go and get yourself some food and sustenance and drinks and whatnot in ready for the day, because it is a busy day. I do deliver a lot of information, so you're not going to be able to nip to Sainsbury's or wherever other shops are available and go and get stuff. So I'm nipping to the shops myself after this. Right, okay, Jill, our beautiful Jill Suarez, thank you so much, my love. That's absolutely lovely. Oh, Rachel says, where do you find the CMA logo so I can add it to my website? Go back to your welcome pack. Roberta would have sent it to you in your welcome pack. Everybody gets the CMA logo there. Rachel, if it's not there, send me an email and I will pop it through to you. Okay. Helly says, thank you, help me so much, raise my spirits and prices too. Yes, Helly, thank you, my darling. That's what I want to hear. Sukhvinder says, feeling so lucky to be able to learn from Jenny. Oh, Sukhvinder, you're so kind, thank you. Oh, yeah, Fiona says, private GP, 160 for 20 minutes in Edinburgh. Daylight robbery. Okay, and we can do, unless it's something that can't be dealt with in complementary medicine, like let's say somebody's a type 1 diabetic, they're going to need insulin. But if it's something chronic, I would venture to guess that, we might actually be better. And I would say that to any doctor. I'm not telling tales out of school. Oh, blimey, Wendy, when I was working in international tax, I was charged out at £400 an hour. Yeah, exactly. I know. I mean, if you look at what solicitors and barristers charge, barristers are on like £650 an hour, if not more. Okay, fantastic. Okay, I'm glad everybody seems to find this really useful. Oh, it's lovely. Okay, great. With the course, somebody just said something about all the goodies on the course. We give you a massive goodie pack. Crikey. Lovely. Sam says, yes, thanks. I do use my name as business name. Yeah, absolutely. Logo off the to-do list. Great. You don't need to fuss yourself or bother yourself with that. It's just too much brain power. You've got better things to be going on with. Wendy says, I have to leave. Mwah, fine. Thank you, Wendy. That's great. See you tomorrow. Carol says, thank you for today. Lovely, lovely. Thank you very much. Tony says, great. Tony says, I get a dance. Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let everybody know about new courses. We are bringing other new courses on board as well. This is something that we've had. The feedback was, that was blooming amazing. And we loved it. Can you do more courses? Yes, we can. We've got a course coming up, or we've got several other courses coming up. We've got a really in-depth oncology for complementary medical practitioners course, which is brilliant. And it also tells you not just what's going on with your patient, but also how to liaise with the onco team. And you know exactly who's who within the team, because they have multidisciplinary teams if people are dealing with that issue. We also have a cell biology course coming up. We also have a an immunology course coming up, which of course is totally relevant because, of course, you know, immunology with every pathology is absolutely crucial for us to know about. They're being run by none other than Dr. Peter Kay, who is an extraordinary doctor. He's the man who pioneered all of the organ transplant centres in Australia and New Zealand. This is a guy, he's supervised goodness only knows how many PhDs. I have to rein him in because he is a massive propeller head, and you know, if he's left to his own devices, he just blinds everybody with science. But it's fine because we're going to do the course together. So I'm going to be making sure that his information is totally consumable. Honestly, I look at it and I go, whoa, okay, right, what does that actually mean in English? So we've got that coming up. I've got a course that I'm running on imposter syndrome because my God, that's massive and rife, especially with what's going on out there at the moment. So very, very important. And if you're looking at going into taking the resilience and positive psychology training into corporate, I can guarantee you that you need to run a course on imposter syndrome. So I'm going to put that together for you. Right, okay, just checking through. Philip says, thank you for remotivating me. Excellent. Right, okay, my loves, I know you've got to go. Thank you so much for your lovely, lovely messages. I'm just checking through to make sure I haven't missed any questions. We're fine, we're there. We've got no more questions. I just want to say thank you for all of those good wishes, which I'm going to copy and paste and send on to Roberta. And I just want to thank you for being with me today and for just being so blooming amazing. Keep shining your beautiful light into the world. I appreciate each and every one of you. You are making a massive difference. Remember that we're always here for you. We may be a little delayed at the moment, but that's okay. Know that we're beavering away in the background and that we will get up, back up to speed very, very quickly. So my deepest, deepest love to you all. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye. See you tomorrow. A lot of you.